Welcome back everybody. In this video I'm going to be explaining how I recently overcame a really strong bout of insomnia, exactly what I did, and what I'm going to be doing in the future in order to ensure better and better sleeps, because I get it now. So let's get into it. Welcome back to Whole Goals. My name is Andrew Love, and as the founder, it is my job, as I see it, to help you reclaim your mind, heart, body, and soul so that you can be an unstoppable force of good in this world. Now, I used to have insomnia a few years back, and it was due to anxiety. Clearly, I was able to sort through that by creating a really strong regimen of meditation in the morning and in the evening, and that basically saved my life. I have more videos about that. I'll link it up here. So if you can clearly identify anxiety in your life, it's most likely impacting the quality of your sleep. And I do have some tips on how you can do that in that video I mentioned before. But this was crazy because I still maintain a very strong regimen of meditation and clarity, and yet somehow insomnia crept back into my life and it started to wreak havoc. So here's the deal. Since I lived in Bali, I had weird insomnia that was connected to the moon. I know, I don't get it either. But when there was a full moon, I would sleep less. There's a lot of evidence to say that we are deeply impacted by the cycle of the moon, including women and menstruation, including the tides in the ocean. We're on the earth, and the earth is being impacted. Women are being impacted. So somehow I was also being impacted in terms of my sleep. But that was very sporadic, and it didn't always happen. Sometimes it did, sometimes it didn't. Who knows? But about 3 weeks ago, I got hit with this chronic insomnia that was only getting worse and worse and worse. And so what was happening was I started waking up in the middle of the night. And when you look online, there's like, oh, if you wake up at this time, it means it's your liver, because in Chinese medicine, that's what it talks about, that the times of the night are when your body processes certain things, and based off of when you're waking up, that means that you have a problem with that part of the body. Great. But I was waking up at different times. It wasn't consistent. What it was usually between 2 and 3.5 hours after I fell asleep, I'd wake up. And sometimes I wouldn't get back to sleep. Does that sound familiar? Drives you nuts. So I'd be rolling around like a little hot dog, just kind of trying to sleep, and the more that I couldn't sleep, the more frustrated I would get. I'd have more cortisol spiking through my body, and that would lead to less sleep. There was one night I remember getting up at like 1:30 in the morning. I tried to sleep many times, and eventually I just got up at like 4 and went to the gym and worked out. But I didn't want to continue doing that because that would be training my body to go to the gym and that I was awake. I wanted to learn how to sleep. So here's exactly what I did step by step, starting with what didn't work, okay? What didn't work was doing research about my insomnia while I was awake with insomnia. I know that I shouldn't be doing this, but it just became so frustrating that I couldn't help myself, because when you're on your phone, there's blue rays coming at you, like they make you more awake. They stimulate something in your brain that makes you feel like you should be doing something with your life instead of sleeping. So that didn't work. But online, when I was doing research, it was telling me try melatonin. So I tried melatonin, did not work at all. In fact, there's some evidence to say that melatonin might not be great for your liver. Didn't work for me. I tried valerian root in terms of tinctures and pill form, didn't work. Did not try prescription drugs, don't want to. There's some deeper reason why we don't sleep, and taking hard prescription drugs that are often addictive doesn't solve the problem, it just quells the symptoms. So I didn't do that, but I did try. So I went to Natural Grocers, which is like, you know, an organic food store close to me, and I tried so many different pills. I've spent a lot of money on vitamins and pills that are meant to put you to sleep. Some of them made me feel absolutely terrible. Then I contacted some lady who's a spiritualist who said that it's probably because I have parasites that are waking up in me and dancing around when I'm asleep because they're taking advantage of my sleepiness. So I started taking some anti-parasitic herbs, and that made me feel even worse. I started to feel sick every day, and I wasn't sleeping better. So I just cut that short. Now here's what started working. So I got some CBD oil, and this is important because there's a bunch of different CBD oils. But there's one that I got that's a combination of CBD, CBN, and CBC. Now this combination is allegedly really powerful, it really works, it puts you to sleep and it keeps you to sleep. So I was really excited to buy this. More money that I spent, but I was really excited to go to sleep that night. I tried it and I went to sleep like that. But I woke up again. So I woke up with the same insomnia where I'd wake up in the middle of the night, and then I was really frustrated because I just bought this. This was like my last hope. So I took another tincture and then I went to bed, and then guess what? I fell asleep. So that was really interesting because it actually helped me to get back to sleep. So then I decided, okay, I'm able to get to sleep, but I wake up in the middle of the night. So why don't I just go to sleep, and if I wake up in the middle of the night, take some of the CBD oil, and I did. I tried it and it completely worked. The CBD oil, that concoction, what it does is you close your eyes, and usually when you go to sleep, you slowly fade into darkness, into slumber. But in this case, it's like you're awake, you're awake, you're awake, you're dead. You just go into a coma. And so I was deeply asleep, and I woke up the next morning like, whoa, my body wasn't used to sleeping, and it worked so well that I tried it the next night. And then here's what started happening. Pro tip. What was happening was I was relaxing myself in the middle of the night when I woke up. I was still waking up, but what I did was I would calm my mind and say, I have a solution. I'd get out of my bed, and then I would come back into my bed after taking the CBD oil in a nice restful state, knowing that I would go back to sleep. And why this is powerful is because after 2 or 3 nights, I just cut out the CBD oil altogether, and I just would wake up and then I'd go back to sleep because I knew that I had this tincture. I knew that I had an option. I knew that I had a way to go back to sleep, and that alone allowed me to get into a restful state. And here's the conclusion. Putting so much stress on yourself sleeping well causes you many times to sleep poorly because you're worried about not getting enough sleep. So that anxiety creates cortisol, and that cortisol screws with your sleep. So relaxing, and if you do wake up, being okay with it, getting up. They say if you can't get back to sleep in about 10 minutes, get out of your bed, go walk around, go meditate, go read. Don't go on your computer, don't watch TV, nothing too stimulating but reading or meditating or praying, something like that. And then when you start to feel a little tired, go back to bed, anticipating that it's going to be a great sleep. If you roll around in your bed, you start to associate struggle and anxiety with sleep, and that creates this weird cocktail that shouldn't exist. So, in conclusion, the CBD oil concoction with the CBN and the CBC really is powerful, but regardless, you don't want anything outside of your body to be the answer for you. You need to figure out what it is that is really causing the problems. And for me, it was fear of not sleeping that caused me to not sleep well. But when I had this external escape from this problem as just a few nights, it just gave me the confidence to know that I could put myself back to sleep. And now I'm sleeping again. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you in the next video.